Hello everyone, welcome to Cooking with Crafting. Hi everyone, welcome to Crafting with Cook. Hi everyone, welcome to Logan with Crafting. Hi everyone, welcome to Cooking and Crafting with Logan. Today is a very special double episode where we will not only be making chocolate truffles, we will also be making little cute boxes to go along with them for Valentine's Day. So let's check out how to make this really fun, very cool recipe and craft. Now for the chocolates, all you really need is about 2.5 cups of chocolate chips, can of sweetened condensed milk, and some vanilla extract, but I'm gonna zhuzh mine up a bit with some sea salt and some cocoa powder to roll them in after. Now for the box, you're going to need some scissors, a pencil, some practice pieces of printer paper, some scrapbook paper, some foil wrappers to wrap your chocolates in, and I recommend a ruler for measuring out your paper. Now you want to start by turning a burner up to low heat and taking a saucepan, putting it on the burner, and then dumping your chocolate chips in. Now you just want to have this over low heat until your chocolate chips are all melted. Once you've gotten it all nice and melted, you want to dump in your can of sweetened condensed milk. Look at that. Oh, it looks scrumptious. Now you just want to mix that around real good. Make sure it's all heated and combined in one uniform color. As you can see, this has gotten a lot thicker, which is good. And now that our sweetened condensed milk is in there, we can turn off the heat, take our pan off the burner, and actually dump in our vanilla extract. Now that this is all combined, we're gonna put it in the fridge, which gives us a ton of time to work on our box. So from what I understand, you guys have 12 by 12 scrapbook paper. Mine is a bit smaller, mine's about 8 by 8, but that's all right. So with this box, you actually want one piece of paper to be 1/2 inch smaller than the other half. So that means width and length needs to be 1/2 inch smaller. So if you have a 12 by 12 piece of scrapbooking paper, that means you just need another 11.5 by 11.5 piece of scrapbooking paper. All that means is you just got to do a little bit of measuring. So I've got my two 12 by 12s. I'm going to take this one down to 11.5 just by measuring 1/2 inch off of there. Now when you cut this, you want to be very careful that you're making it as straight as possible. So I've actually, not that you can see it too well, but I've drawn a straight line across to make sure that I'll be able to get this super straight, because we want this to be as square as possible. And there we go. Now I have my 12 by 12 and my 11.5 by 11.5. Now what I totally recommend you guys do first before you start this is practice with some printer paper. Recommend taking some white paper, just some scrap paper you got, whatever, cutting it into squares, one a little shorter than the other, and doing some practice boxes with those. So I've done this a few times now. I was really bad at it at first. You know, everything you start off doing, you're not going to be perfect at, but I did some practice ones with some paper, and I got a box that I'm actually very happy with. Look how great this little thing is. So by the time you are ready to work with your scrapbooking paper, it might be pretty good. And now comes the tough part, which is the origami folding. So first, you want to fold this in half both ways. So that means folding it in half like this. Make sure you really nail down that crease. I'm using my fingernails, that way we make sure we get a really tight fold. Fold it in half once, and then fold it in half again. Okay, now we want to fold it in half the opposite way. So that means folding it in half diagonally like that, okay? We fold it in half diagonally one way. Now fold it in half diagonally the other way. So now, if you look at it, we've got a line going from each corner to each corner, and we've got a line going from the middle of one side all the way to the other side on both sides. That means it bends in half, and it bends diagonally in half. Okay, now next, you want to take a corner, so take a corner, and fold it right to the middle so that the very tip of the corner touches the center of the paper. As you can see, very prettily, we have one triangle going in there. Now, you just want to do this for all your sides, so I just turn it 90 degrees and do the other corners. Now, as you can see, we now have all of these corners folded in. Now, doesn't that look cute? Now that we've got all of this, we want to take one side, so we're on one side here, and we want to fold one side in half into the center, okay? So let's just consider this like one rectangle, and we're folding that rectangle in half right into the middle, like that. Remember, you gotta get those creases nice and good. Now the other side. So remember, just considering it like it's one rectangle on one side, fold that rectangle in half right into the middle. Try to be as precise as you can. There we go. As you can see, these now fold in. And we just want to do that again on the other side. Now, as you can see, these all fold in to the center. And we've got these little triangles here poking out in the middle, okay? So make sure you have something that sort of looks like this. Now, to actually form our box, you want to see how we have this poking out here? Take this, open it up one way. Okay, now this part is a little tricky. It took me a lot of practice, but as you can see, we almost have a box forming here. We almost have a box, it's almost there. So take this, unflap it, and then as you're folding it in, you take these little triangles here, fold them in, and then fold the flap over it. Now that is a little confusing, isn't it? That is a little confusing, but it should look like that once you're folded in. So let's try to take a closer look here. So this is our other side. It's our other side here. It's unfurled. So as we go to bend it in, we're going to get these triangle flaps on the side that we need to fold inward. So take it, try to fold it in, and as you're doing so, put your fingers right in the middle and take these triangles, put them in. It should look something like that. And then you have a flap that is slowly folding in. You need to start pushing the triangles in there. See that how we have these are going inward. We've got sort of the wall of our box there, and just fold that over top. And just do a little bit of corrective folding. And we've got one whole side of our box. Now you just got to repeat this process with the other one. So, in short, fold it in half each way, fold it in half diagonally, fold the corners in half into themselves so that each triangular corner meets the center. Then fold each half rectangle in half onto itself, right into the middle. Unroll it and do the same thing on the other side. Then unroll the whole thing so that you've got a sort of bunch of flaps here like this. And then you want to unflap one. And as you fold it into the center, you want to pull in the sides as well. So that it should work like that. And then do the same thing to the other side. Then, after all that, you should have something that looks like one part of a box. Now, a few things might go wrong as you do this craft. One thing that's actually kind of going wrong with mine is that I didn't cut mine small enough, so I'm having a bit of a hard time getting it to fit in. It still does, but it's not as neat and tidy as I would have liked. But that's okay. What that means is I just cut one side a little too long. I needed it a little bit shorter, but that's okay. Now this is a pretty challenging origami craft. If you don't get it right the first time, that's totally fine. Remember, that's why we did all of these practice ones with our paper boxes. But hopefully by the time you've finished your box, your chocolates should be ready and set. I think it's time to go form them, stick them in here. Okay, so our chocolate has been sitting in the fridge for 2 hours, and as you can tell, it is nice and hardened and chilled. Now we just gotta roll it into little spheres. So I've got a little bit of a truffle station here. I've got a spoon for my chocolate. I've got a little cocoa powder here to roll it in, but of course this is not necessary. You can use powdered sugar or coconut, cocoa powder, whatever, or you can just have them as is. I'm gonna roll mine in cocoa powder for a little added touch though. So all you wanna do is just grab a decent spoonful, mind the size of your wrappers because you wanna make it so that your chocolates fit inside your wrappers so you can wrap them up and put them in your box. So this is about the size I'm going with. It's maybe 1 inch by 1 inch, about the size of an okay bouncy ball. And you just want to put that in between your hands and roll it like you would roll clay. And as you can see, I've got a cute little sphere of chocolate there. Let's put that on my plate and go on to the next one. Now, make sure you're not touching too much when you're doing this because you are going to get chocolate all over your hands. So just be mindful of the mess that you'll be making because by the end of it, your hands are going to be coated in chocolate. Now I've rolled about 1/3 of my chocolate into these little balls. Now I'm just gonna stick it in the freezer for about 20 minutes to make wrapping them up a bit easier. These heat up quite a bit when you work with them with your hands. Feel free to go ahead and roll out all of your little chocolate spheres. I've just done a few here because it's gonna take quite a bit of time. So now everything is finally coming together. I've got my frozen chocolate. It's been in the freezer for about 20 minutes. I've got my chocolate wrappers. I've got this very cute gold color. And of course, I've got my little origami box. Now, you can roll these out however you like. Just take the frozen chocolate, put it in the middle, and maybe just fold in the corners there. Try to be neat and tidy, you know. This is for your Valentine after all. And look at that. A gorgeous little wrapped chocolate. Now my box is pretty small, so I'm thinking I might only be able to fit 4 in here. And there we are, a little box of chocolates. Adorable. So since these aren't filled with all sorts of stabilizing preservatives like store-bought chocolates are, I recommend keeping them in the fridge just so that they don't melt, unless you're gonna eat them right away. But as for me, this is only like a quarter of all the chocolates I have, so I've got quite a bit to go through. Well guys, I hope you liked this craft. Not only do I think it is so awesome that we made these chocolates, but that we also made the package they come in. It shows we put a lot of thought into it and a lot of hard work, and I think it's something I'm gonna do for Valentine's Days years to come. Now, if you guys are interested, we have a very fun event going on next Friday, the 19th, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's an Among Us game night. Now, if you haven't heard of Among Us, it's a huge game that took the world by storm last year, hugely accessible and a ton of fun. We're opening it up to kids aged 8+, so if you're interested, message us on Facebook, send us a text, or email us. We'd love to see you there. Don't forget, please, please, please send us pictures of your chocolates in your chocolate boxes. I'd love to see how they turned out. I enjoyed this craft so much, and I can't wait to do it again. Can't wait to see you guys for our other recipes and crafts later this month. Until then, take care. Bye-bye.